are. Well, good morning, and today I'm doing this video on nothing but my Insta360 just to give it a little test. And the camera, of course, has a 360-degree zoom, but also it has some great microphone on it, so I can walk and talk. Today we are in the Waveney Valley, which is the heart of, well, my heartland, the area I grew up in. And we're starting this little walk through Dirchingham. It's a village, and it's the place where I was born. So, let's go for a hike. This is the old school playing field. And this is where I very first went to school. Coming up to Dirchingham Place. This is the house I was born in. That is the window to the bedroom I was born in. Wasn't born in a hospital, I was born at home. And that's the home I was born in. Good news for my father to celebrate wetting the baby's head, because just there is a village pub. Back in the day, it was the Duke of York. You can see the sign there. But it's now, get ready American friends, Smokey Joe's American Diner. I've tried the food. It ain't. Down this footpath. This is going to take us down to the River Waveney. This particular footpath is a part of the Angles Way that runs pretty much along the River Waveney. The river itself marks the county boundary between Suffolk and Norfolk. Counties in the UK are like states in the US, so they have their own governing bodies. Norfolk and Suffolk, of course, lots of places in the US. Norfolk and Suffolk, if you're in the Boston area, certainly Tidewater, Virginia. And the reason, of course, those names transferred across the Atlantic is because the mariners that manned the ships that came across the Atlantic all came from this area. Norfolk, Suffolk, Essex, all in this area. So we've just come up to the river, and this is Baldry's Mill, owned by a gentleman called George Baldry, and my mother was his housekeeper. And so she lived in the house that I just showed you. And the bridges across the river were here when I was a boy, and this little inlet here was the mill stream, and over here was the mill house, and you can still see underneath the brickwork and the wall where the mill was. And if we carry on across here, are you? Someone's having a little paddle over here, look, there we go. And actually that's really appropriate, because this area is where we all learnt to swim on the river here. And so these two bridges have been here, well, 1922 it says on the plaque here. I certainly remember them as a boy. And you come here, cross the bridge, or go up to the island, which is the bit in the middle there, and that's where you learn to swim and go swimming. It had a sandy bottom, and so we just called it the Sandy. Through the gate and on to the Common. This turn in the river here is what we call the Sandy. Has the sandy bottom, and there's always a rope in the trees up there where you could swing in to the river. I'm sure there's, oh, there we go, there's a rope there even today. Probably not the same one, but that's where you'd swing into the Sandy. Fantastic. So now to walk round Bungay Common. This is common land. Common land means that anybody, any citizen, can bring their sheep and cattle to graze here for free. This was established back in medieval times, where the citizens of the town needed to graze their animals somewhere, and so common land was established to allow them to do that. Okay, this is going to be fun. This is a quagmire of mud. I don't really want to mess my boots up. So easy does it. Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah, there. Just about brings me on to the hall over there that once belonged to Henry Rider Haggard. Who's he, you say? Well, he was a novelist of the 1900s. He wrote books including King Solomon's Mines, his hero Alan Quatermain of the King Solomon's Mines books. Still haven't heard of that? If you've watched The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Sylvester Stallone, Jason Statham, some of the characters they depict in that movie were written by the guy that used to live there, H. Rider Haggard. Willow trees. A lot of willow trees grow around the Waveney Valley, and it's very simply for a commercial reason, or it used to be, that Bungay, the town we're going to end up in, was the epicenter of cricket bat production, and cricket bats are made of willow, and so trees will be planted along the riverbank because they just suck water up. That's how they thrive and survive. And when they get to the right and ripe old age, they then are harvested, used to be taken into town to the sawmill where they were shaped into the willow shape of a cricket bat. All here on the River Waveney. Skies are very quiet around here because this is not an area where commercial aircraft operate. We are in military airspace. This is a major training area above us for the Royal Air Force, the US Air Force and other NATO allies. 80 years ago it wasn't so quiet because we also sit right now in the epicenter of what was the US 8th Army Air Force, and so just 2 miles in front of us was a B-17 base. We're surrounded by airfields. Just 8 miles to the south of us now is Thorpe Abbotts. If you've watched Masters of the Air, the 100th Bomb Group, that was just down the road from us here. And my mother, who was 15 or 16 at the time, can remember standing just about here in this area watching all the bombers coming back and going to wherever they were going. We emerge from the common, you come up to the golf course, and yes, there's a family connection here too. My grandfather John Davy was the groundskeeper here. He was an interesting chap, John Davy. He lied about his age because he was too young to get into the First World War, and then he lied about his age because he was too old to get into the Second World War. And so, a bit of a warrior, my grandfather John Davy, but when he wasn't fighting wars, he was looking after the grass right here. Every wood has a little Blair Witch moment. So we leave the common and head over the bridge, over the bypass, into the medieval town of Bungay. Lots of references to black dogs here. Why is that? Well, this is the home of Black Shuck. So in the medieval times, on a dark and stormy night, the locals took shelter in St Mary's Church, which is just round the corner, and an evil apparition of a black dog appeared and killed them all. And that is the famous Bungay black dog, or Black Shuck if you like, the music of darkness. 3 tons. Tons of years old. Allegedly very, very haunted. 17th century banqueting house. Across the street is the Butter Cross, an ancient marketplace, and as you can see, it still is. St Mary's Church, scene of the crime where Black Shuck entered and lives ended. Parish priest, 1453. Black Shuck, the black dog of Bungay. Must be true. Trinity Church, even older than St Mary's, where we were just in. If you know your churches, the square towers are Norman towers, the round towers are Saxon towers. So this site is at least 1,000 years old. So there we go, a quick tour around my personal part of the Waveney Valley, the area that I was born and spent my very early years in. Hope you enjoyed that, and see you next time. Cue music, give the hike a like.